Midnight journey. Ali and his family had set off on a long journey. His father was driving the car. His mother was asleep. It was past midnight, and the trees on both sides of the road stretched like shadows in the dark. As Ali looked out the window in the back seat, a sign caught his eye in the distance. Abandoned hospital to 5 kilometers. "Dad, there's a hospital here," he said excitedly. His father, without taking his eyes off the road, muttered, "This place has been closed for years. Horrible things have happened there in the past." A strange shiver ran through Ali. At that moment, the car's headlights suddenly flickered, and the engine began to make strange noises. Finally, the car slowed down and stopped. "I think there's a problem," his father said. He looked at his phone, but there was no signal. At that very moment, a person in a white coat appeared on the side of the road. He stood motionless, his head slightly tilted to the side. Ali's mother opened the window and called out, "Excuse me, is there a mechanic nearby?" The man said nothing. He slowly pointed ahead, the path to the hospital. The father shook his head helplessly. "We have no other choice." Varsail and Medeth family began walking along the dark and foggy path. When they arrived in front of the hospital, the huge doors creaked open of their own accord. Dim white lights were on inside. A humming sound could be heard echoing from the corridors. An old doll was lying on a stretcher. When Ali approached it, the doll suddenly opened its eyes and whispered, "You have come, but you cannot leave. N." At that moment, the doors suddenly slammed shut and a footstep was heard from behind. Knock, knock, knock. When they turned around, they saw with horror that the man in the white coat was now walking towards them, his eyes now pitch black. When the family saw the man with pitch black eyes approaching them, his father immediately tried to open the door, but to no avail. The doors were tightly locked. When Ali took a few steps back, he suddenly realized that the ground under his feet was soft. When he bent down and looked, he saw that the ground was actually an operating table covered in red stains. At that moment, screams echoed from the corridors. The old hospital pictures on the wall suddenly changed. Now there were people with rotten faces and no eyes inside. His mother panicked and took her phone out of her bag, but the screen only said, "You are here now." His father felt around the wall and suddenly found a door. They opened it and rushed in. The room was full of old surgical instruments. There was a rusty stretcher right in the middle. And on that stretcher, the man in the white coat was lying. But that was impossible, because the man had just been outside. His eyes opened and he suddenly sat down. "This is my hospital, and I have never forgotten the last people who entered here," he whispered. In an instant, Ali's head spun. His vision went black. The clicking of surgical instruments echoed in his ears. The last thing he heard was the man's deep laughter. In the morning, an abandoned car was found in front of the hospital, but there was no one inside. Ali and his family were never seen again. But some say that 3 silhouettes look out of the windows of that hospital at night. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories and hit the like button.